So shall I kick it off?
Yes, I'm excited to hear this story.
I grew up in California, and my family didn't really have anything to do with the ocean. Like, we would go for walks there or whatever, but my family is not like an ocean sport kind of family. Uh, I also, during the time when I grew up, I remember in high school that somebody's mom was killed by a great white. And that just like put this, you know, legitimate fear of sharks and everything. Not like totally, because I still thought the ocean was very cool. But I just never wanted to go in that water, right? Like, it was dark and murky, and like I just wasn't really sure about it. But then I did snorkel in Hawaii, and that was one of those moments that I was like, "Oh wow, this is stunning," you know? I do remember though that when I was snorkeling, I had gotten back on the boat and people were like really concerned about me. And I found out that there was a shark in the area. It was like a black tip or whatever. But yeah, I had no idea. So I was just like blissfully, looking all around at all the tropical fish and everything. But that sort of started my interest, but I still didn't jump into it until I was in Southeast Asia. Like a lot of people, I was backpacking in my 20s, going around Thailand, and I had heard of people doing the open water course in Koh Tao. So of course, I decide I'm going to go to Koh Tao. I'm going to check it out. And I really honestly thought that I was going to be there for the time of the course, like 4 days max, and I would move on, right? I signed up and had such a blast. Like, everybody knows this feeling, because I think all of us, anyone who's listening to this podcast, is obviously obsessed with scuba diving in the ocean. So like, that feeling is like very universal, right? Of just falling in love and feeling like you're in the place where you're supposed to be, you know? Diving came very easy to me at first. I didn't have issues with buoyancy or anything. I was just very comfortable. And it was crazy. I was in a group of, it must have been max ratios, like 7 other divers, so like 8 in
Yeah.
total. And it was, just one of those factory schools in Koh Tao, just like bring them through. Next group, next
Yeah.
group, next group. And so I really loved that. But I kind of got done with the course and was like, I want to do more, and of course the instructors are all about like upselling people and linking
Yeah.
courses and keeping people there. So what started out as 4 days in Koh Tao turned into almost 4 months.
Wow, really?
Yeah. And I ended up doing the 0 to hero package of open water to dive master.
In
Now,
4 months.
yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So there's a lot sprinkled in there that I could go into. It's something, if you guys follow me on Azul Unlimited on my YouTube channel and stuff, you have probably heard this a million times. I do not recommend that people do 0 to hero programs. I knew jack about scuba diving. I
Yeah.
did zero research. I was just like in the Koh Tao bubble, and that's what you did. If you were going to hang out, you're doing the open water, the advanced, the rescue, the EFR, dive master, right?
Yeah.
So it didn't seem weird to me, because I was in this ecosystem of like everybody's doing it.
Right.
Now I'm like, that wasn't so smart. I got over 100 dives in Koh Tao, but Koh Tao is a bathtub. Like, it's the easiest diving that you could experience, at least during the season that I was there. It was not challenging at all. Very
Yeah, I was
clear,
gonna ask, like,
warm water.
yeah, so conditions like 80 type of thing.
So comfy. like
Mm.
like no wetsuit needed. It was super comfortable. Um and I remember going through the advanced course was kind of a blur of nonsense. Like we were just screwing around underwater because all of us that had continued, we were all fairly like strong divers. So we were just, I mean, I remember at one point for the navigation, you know, you can go off as a buddy team and like do part of the navigation. Instructor can keep an eye on you and whatever. And we got distracted by a turtle and ended up in like way off of the path. And my instructor was just like, "What are you doing? Like, what happened? Where did you guys go?" Not where did you guys go? He knew where we were, but like what was going on? Like that was way off course. And so I don't know. I'm happy with what I did because you experience something that is so heavily pushed in the dive industry, you know, to link the courses, get the upgrades, all of these things. But like, is that helpful to our clients in the end? And I know for me, it wasn't, right? Because I did not get the skills that I needed, you know, to say that I have 100 dives, great. But when it's 100 dives in an ocean bathtub, like, you just don't have any experience with understanding what the ocean is like, currents, waves, visibility. You know, you just have a very limited tool belt to pull from when things go wrong, you know. I did my rescue course and it was fine. Like it wasn't a bad course, but I just remember thinking that I wasn't super prepared for things. You know, like yes, I can do the skills if they're specifically like in front of me the way that it was presented during the course, right?
Right.
Like I could do that because I'm a nerd and I'm a good study, right? So like I know the things that are assigned to me. But because I had no life experience outside of that, it was I didn't have like situational awareness of how to diagnose things and like notice nuance, right? With people, stress divers and things like that. So yeah, it was an interesting experience. And like you know, for the dive master, and we'll go more into dive master when we talk about dive professional, but it was just honestly, I didn't know what I was going to do with it, but it was just a way to stay and dive more. And that's like all I wanted to do. I wanted to just hang out and dive. But I think it's much smarter to go about like choosing specifically from rescue on, being very strategic about who you choose as your instructor, where you decide to do those courses. I think all of that should play more into it if people are actually thoughtful about their diver education. I was not thoughtful. I was like, "Ooh, party Kotak," you know, like I was in my 20s. I didn't care. Like I was just there for the good time. I had no idea that, you know, 10 plus years later I would be doing this. You know what I mean? Like I had a career and like other things going on. So it wasn't at the forefront of my mind like, "Oh, I should be making sure that I get a good education." I was like, "Just get me out to the ocean. Like, let's go play."
Right, exactly.
So, which, you know, to be fair, a lot of people go into diving like that because it is fun. It's supposed to be fun. But I always like to share that with people so that they don't, I don't know. I mean, as an instructor, I think it's important that we sell courses and that we get people into courses because we make money in that way, and that's helpful for us to maintain our lives, right?
Sure.
But it's also a balance of making sure that we give the right advice and service to the people who are in front of us.